There are plenty of decisions that you'll make in retirement planning process that can't be undone. So you want to make sure that you get it right the first time. On this episode, we'll explain why these decisions are important and can't be undone.
This is the Money Master Podcast. On this show, we hope to provide clarity and empowerment through a thoughtful and friendly discussion about the important topics that shape our financial lives. Your hosts are Connie Davis and certified financial planner Nick Davis. They're a husband and wife team and the founders of Brindle and Bay Wealth Management.
Welcome back to the Money Master Podcast. Connie here along with Nick and Tori. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that we're happy that you're here with us today. And if you are enjoying listening to our podcast, we ask that you would go and leave us a 5-star review so that way other people just like you can find our podcast.
Nobody knows what to say now.
No, I'm laughing because I was going to say, please, we want to hear from you. We want to know, people will come into the office and they will say, oh, I love that podcast. And we're like, thanks. It's great. It's really great to hear from somebody.
You heard it?
And there's that happens throughout the year. But in between the time, there's it's silence, right? So you're talking into outer space. So I was thinking all kinds of things I could blurt out. and anyway, everybody's just looking at me. So anyway, we're sticking with this irreversible financial decisions. We've got 4 or 5 of them for you. I think it's a big thought in our minds that we don't want to mess up big decisions, right? There's some things it's don't sweat the small things, make a decision and then make the decision right. We've always lived our lives by that. You make a decision and then you make it the right decision after you've made it. If you made the wrong decision, you got to make it right because you can't have buyer's remorse on your decisions. However, some things are little hinges that swing big doors. They're too painful to get it wrong.
So these are things that don't have a return or exchange policy is what you're saying.
Or it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Leave it to the budget shopper to say that. Yes. So what are they?
All right. Well, irreversible decision number 1, when you take your Social Security. Now that one, I even know that is, you can reverse it, but it's a pain, right? And you have to pay all the money back. But
yes,
okay.
It used to be 3 years. You could actually reverse it after 3 years, and
I
you
didn't
fill
know it was
out
that long.
Form 521. I think it's Form 521, and then you pay back everything they paid you. And now it's only 1 year. So after you've taken it, you could reverse it, but you only have up to 1 year.
It's not an easy phone call. Just hey, I'm changed my mind.
Yeah,
It's a process.
If you listen to our episodes, Social Security is a big topic.
Right.
We talk about it all the time. And because it's one of the biggest levers we can pull to help make a plan really successful, and
there's not just one way to do it. So there's a lot of consideration that goes into.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it should just be easy. Take it early, take it late. But we talk in other episodes about why that is. On our website, we've got a whole educational series, 9 or 10 short videos about why it's important and
plus we do live events teaching on Social Security.
Yeah. So get advice, get wisdom before you take your Social Security is the first one. That goes without saying. What's the second one?
The second one is electing spousal benefits on your pension or not. Choosing how you're going to take that pension. Yeah.
And so the question people ask is, hey, well, which way should we do it? And I can tell you that most people, I'm just going to get straight to the easy answer. And do not take this as specific advice for you, but if you're both the same age, women live longer than men, you tend to want to take it with the 100% survivor benefit, which is a smaller amount.
That feels hard because you see on that statement that bigger amount that you could take for your life only, and that feels good for the next 10, 15 years.
What could I do with that extra money? Why would I do that?
But then you pass away and your spouse gets nothing.
Yeah. Or a percentage. There's different payout options where you can get 50% or 75%. The problem is that you have to replace that income because when one person passes away, what happens to Social Security income?
It goes away.
Goes down, right? Goes down. So if you also have your pension go down, then that's a big bummer. We had somebody not too long ago, they took their pension years ago. When husband passes away, 35, 40 grand a year goes away. plus they have very strong Social Securities each. So about $30,000 from Social Security goes away. So this person has such a huge drop in income. And they said, well, years ago, I bought whole life insurance to make the difference, which is a good idea. You know, if you go with the bigger benefit and you take the difference and you buy whole life insurance, then you can fill the bucket back up, so to speak. Except it never works. Like, it's always too expensive for the whole life typically. I mean, I would love for it to work because I keep looking, because I think that's due diligence to look to see to do that. But they didn't get enough whole life insurance. Like, they had like $100,000 replacing this. And so, yeah, they had such a big reduction in income in the future that's a problem. So definitely would lean away from, that.
Generally what you're saying. Yeah,
but not if there's but if there's an age gap between spouses and a health difference between spouses, that could, like, we have, the lady is older. It's her pension. I'm sorry, she's younger and she's healthier by 10 years. Well, then her taking a single life option, getting both of them for both lives, probably a good idea. So again, it is case by case, but it is one of those irreversible decisions, because once you take
tell them what you're taking, right? It's done.
Yep.
So lots of considerations. Okay, another one, getting life insurance.
Yeah, we're not excited. People are so excited about talking about life insurance. Yeah. The problem,
because it feels safe. Right? It feels like that's a no, and I'll have that money then.
Yep.
But there's factors there too.
Well, and it's confusing. Should I get the really expensive stuff? Should I get the cheap stuff? How long do I need it for? We're talking about irreversible decisions. And so if you die, then that's or if your spouse dies, that's an irreversible thing that happens that affects your plan, especially if they're an income earner. Or if you get diagnosed with something, then you can no longer get it, and it was maybe crucial for your plan.
Or as you age, it gets more expensive. The premiums go up.
Yeah, a lot of times people will have this 20-year term policy. It is expiring. They're in their 60s, but they're well saved, and it's not really crucial that they continue it. However, in some situations, they get to that point, they still have a lot of liabilities. They're not very well saved, and the price of term is going to keep going up. So they didn't buy the stuff that maybe was, more permanent. So, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, but everybody knows you need some form of life insurance, and it needs to be strategic to you. And then there's some undoable, like for me, I'm 44 years old. My cholesterol's high. I wish I would have got more life insurance before my cholesterol, and I can't get it back down. It's like hereditary. So I pay a rated amount, and, every year passes and like, I should get more. And then it's like, well, another year, it gets more expensive as I get older.
Yeah. Another irreversible financial decision, choosing a retirement date. What do you mean? Like that?
Why is it hard, or is it irreversible?
I mean, can't you change your retirement date?
I mean, yes, you can go back to work after you retire, but it's unlikely you're going to be in the same position making the same salary. Like, everything will change at that point.
Yeah, like if you quit your job and you're like really, let's just say you're aged out, right? Let's just be honest. Ageism is an issue for employers as you get older. It's not supposed to be, but it is. Becoming reemployed becomes difficult if you need to, and that could be catastrophic, right? That being said, we encourage everybody to pick a date, even if you don't want to retire, if you want to phase retirement or whatever, just so you have some place to start planning from, knowing that for 50% of the people we help, they actually change their date anyway, and that's okay. You can decide to go later or earlier, but you got to have
like a jumping off point to plan for. Like, you got to start somewhere.
You got to have something, right, to kind of orient yourself. So it's very difficult to re-enter the workforce. It's not difficult to downgrade your job to a less stressful job. And if
that's planned for, then that's not a problem.
Right.
Like if you're planning for, we do that a lot. We plan for a smaller salary for a few years when they quit working to just do something part-time. Yeah. And that's totally reversible. You can change that. Yeah. But going back to your old jobs, probably.
Yeah. We had a lady that worked, she said she was an executive at TI. Well, she didn't say. She said she was a hatchet lady. That's why I said she was an executive at TI. And I said, what do you want to do when you stop working? She goes, I want to be a lunch lady. I'm like, you want to be a lunch lady? She's like, yeah, I just want my responsibility to be at the level of elementary kids, and I just want to do something else and enjoy stuff with no stress and still stay active. But anyway, choosing your retirement date and maybe how that's going to look is a sometimes irreversible decision. And I know we only had 4, but I actually added a 5th one.
I actually thought of another one too.
Okay, so maybe we got 6.
Okay.
So let's go ahead. We'll add yours now. What's yours?
Well, mine is having a will or a trust.
Oh.
You know, if when that day comes and you don't have something set in place, you're
not there to do it. Yeah, for sure.
Especially the declaration of guardianship document, if when it's needed. Like everybody's healthy, there's no issue between spouses. But then if Alzheimer's becomes an issue, we've seen that become an issue where doctors have been convinced against spouses, and there was just no pre-thinking through who is responsible, and so those legal documents are hugely.
It feels like something you can drag your feet on until.
Oh yeah,
it's not.
And what I have learned about getting a will or a trust is actually a lot more simple than what we think it's going to be in our mind. So,
and for our members at Brindle Bay, we actually contract with a group of attorneys, and we put the will and trust in front of our clients, and we say, "Hey, here it is, do it." And
make it
something
easy.
We keep on their one page all the time, like the reviews. We're
plan.
Always making sure they're going to have to do that.
Did you do it yet? Okay, you're choosing not to do it for the next 6 months. Okay,
but we're going to ask again in 6 months.
And everybody admits this is my big problem. Like they do everything else responsibly, but they don't do that. So thanks for thinking of that. So number 6 is starting too late. Irreversible financial decision is the decision to not start planning. Not start planning, not start saving, right? Not start planning. I think the statistic last time I read it said that the majority of Americans talk to a financial planner like 6 months before they're going to retire because they just think, oh yeah, work's got that figured out for me. And, starting that late takes away so many opportunities for reorganization, for better tax efficiency, for de-risking, for volatility. If you were getting ready to retire within a year or two and you haven't thinking of that, and now we're in 2022 situation, you might be thinking, well, I can't retire when I want to retire. So planning earlier.
Well, I think some of that's a mindset issue too, is you may be scared that a financial planner tells you, you're going to need to work another year or two. And they don't want to hear that news, so they don't ever go do it.
Yeah.
And then the news is still there. It's still the facts, right? But avoiding that.
Right.
So when do you think, how far in advance should someone start to prepare? Like if they're going to retire at, I don't know,
60 something.
People ask that question a lot. So great question. You might be asking that same question. So whenever you get within that retirement red zone is a good idea. And that retirement red zone has been described as within 10 years of retirement. Okay, where you're winding down.
Yeah, so talk about the shift there from 10 years to most people waiting till 6 months.
Yeah.
That is a huge change.
But academics say, in some of the classes we've taken, 5 years to practice retirement or to rehearse retirement, meaning it takes 5 years to adjust your mindset, to do a little bit of rehearsing retirement, building a life out for yourself outside of work, which is something we're trying to get better at here at Brindle and Bay. I know Tori and I have talked about having our clients actually journal and create a future vision for themselves so that they can live into it and maybe practice it a bit, because people fail often in retirement, not because of the money, but they fail just as often because of the mindset, loneliness, depression, not having a life outside of what used to give them their sense of meaning. And so, that's a complicated question, right? 10 years, I mean, the sooner the better.
So between 5 and 10 years, definitely really start thinking about it. Don't wait until 6 months before.
Yeah, we're actually getting ready to put something on our website that says you might be a good fit for us if, and then you are not a good fit if you think, you can wait until the last 6 months before you retire.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I'll wait till I retire. Well, no, you've got some other issues to consider.
Yeah, and, a financial planner telling you at 10 years before retirement you need to make some shifts is doable, but 6 months doesn't give you much time to make a change.
Exactly. Yeah. It's way more comfortable to have a relationship over a several year period rather than just all of a sudden jumping into something new with a total stranger or strange firm, all of a sudden, right? So earlier is better.
Yes. All right, good. And hey, we're a fun team to work with, so why not be with us for longer?
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We appreciate it. Remember, go to Money Master Podcast, like and subscribe, review, share with your friends. See you next time.